Well, here we are with Annette Staunton, who's in London right now. And Annette, thanks for your time. And maybe you can just tell us a little bit about yourself real quick and about what you do in London, so folks watching this will get a sense of what you can tell us about.
Yeah, absolutely. I work at the Washington Mayfair Hotel, and I've been here nearly 20 years now. I'm the manager here, and pretty much through all of that time, I've been looking after CCSA every year. So it's become an annual event, and it's great to see everybody. We love having them here, and I think mostly CCSA love staying here because we really are in the best part of town here.
Yes. Well, tell us about that. What part of London are you in that, students who come there would be like, oh, this is where we are in London?
Well, you're right in the centre. This is called Mayfair, and let's see if I can show you a little bit of it, because I'm actually up on the penthouse at the moment. It's a very bright and sunny day. That's Green Park, and in the middle of those trees is Buckingham Palace, which is where Queen Elizabeth lives. So it's very central.
It is.
I'm coming back in now. A little warm out there.
That's right.
So it's a great part of town. It was built, most of it, around 350 years ago, when London in the city got far too crowded and they started moving out west. All laid out by the Duke of Westminster, so it's still pretty much as he set it up. It's lovely Georgian squares and terraces, big houses, very quiet, very safe, really good part of town. If there's one thing, if you get time to do, you should do it. It's try and get up somewhere high. And I thought the Monument is a great place to go. The Monument is where the Great Fire of London started. Mm-hmm. And you climb up this corkscrew staircase. When you get to the top, you can see quite a lot of London. And when you look out, you will see church steeples everywhere you look. Right. And every one of those steeples would have been a village church at some time. So what you've got is a whole load of little villages that, as London grew, they got absorbed. But weirdly, they still retain their own identity. And I think one of the great things about London is that it is a series of villages joined together by a great transport system. Mm-hmm. And you'll find that if you can get out a little bit from the centre, if you want to. It's not that far to go, say, south to Southwark, which is another very old part of London. Really interesting down there, lots of food markets and things to see, old buildings and galleries. Mm-hmm. But there's lots of different places like that around London. And maybe to just go and see a few of those. The biggest possible difference you'll see is that everybody walks everywhere here, and it's happening more and more. If you're in a huge rush, you jump on the tube because that's the quickest way. But walking is great, and you see so much.
What do you think some students should know about the London area before they come?
Let's see now. If you want to look up current London and see what's going on and what's happening, there's an app or a magazine called Time Out, which is really rather good, and it lists all sorts of things that are going on. It also has a good restaurant listing, and it's independent. It's not being paid for, so that's quite good to do. There's another little app called City Mapper, which is fantastic for getting around. We Londoners use it all the time. It will tell you the best way to get anywhere, and it will tell you exactly how long it will take you, and it will tell you if there's any hold-ups on the way, so that's a really good thing to do. Mm-hmm. If there are any books on London, let me think. There's a book called London by a guy called Peter Ackroyd, which is very good. It has a lot of interesting stuff in it. I guess maybe if there's anything that particularly interests you, theatre, the law, history, if you can find some books on that. I mean, I've got loads of recommendations. If anybody wants to get in touch, I'll be happy. And maybe focus on that. You probably won't be able to do everything, so maybe pick up the thing that interests you and see what you can read up on it, because there's just so much to see and do. Travel by transport, maybe a bus, because top deck of a London bus, you'll see an awful lot more. It's amazing what you see actually when you're up there. You look in the windows. And go and have a look around the parks, the green spaces. We're very lucky with our green lungs. And if you're at all into exercise and jogging, I've got Green Park, St James Park and Hyde Park, which are three of the biggest and best parks within 3-4 minutes walk of here. So bring your gear and take yourself out for a jog in the morning. And you'll see quite a lot of London just doing that, actually. It's really worth doing, actually. I have to say, every time I cross my river, the Thames, every single time I look up and I look down and I think, wow, you are so lucky to live here.
True.
You never get bored of it. I think if you possibly can, whether you're on a relevant course or not, try and go to the theatre. There's some great theatre, exceptional theatre in London, and some of the little theatres are very, very good and very personal. We have rooms in pubs that are theatres, 10 people, amazing. Round here we've got some great little areas. There's a place called Shepherd Market across the road from the hotel, which is full of little shops and restaurants and pubs, and it's a real little microcosm, and it tends to be quite a lot of locals in there and people who work in the area, so that's rather nice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can go high, apart from up a high building, take a little trip up to Hampstead Heath maybe, or that area, because that's our first line of hills around London, and from there you've just got the whole city laid out in front of you, and it really is lovely to see it. Worth doing if you get time.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, Annette, thank you very much for your time, and we hope that we'll take you up on your offer and to have students, if they have interest in learning more, that we can help them get in contact with you about their time in London.
I'll be delighted. My favourite subject and my favourite city. No brainer, really.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're very welcome.